Welcome to the living room where we listen, learn, and live together. I'm so glad that you've joined me. I'm your boy, Richard Martin, your host, and I'm so excited I just can't hide it. Our special guests today are energetically and impactfully changing the lifestyle, fitness, and nutrition game. During a season where many people have lost that community provided by gyms, CrossFit boxes, or just your casual union with friends to go on a run, this couple, friends of mine, have come into living rooms and homes with smiles, not just providing workouts, but a sense of community. I'm glad to have them with me. They are the founders of One Body LA, and we're looking forward to having an inspiring, transformative conversation that I'm sure you will appreciate. Would you welcome to the living room with me at this time, Juice and Toya? What's up, y'all?
Hi, thank you for having us. Appreciate you having us.
Yeah, we're excited to be here.
It's my pleasure, my privilege. Listen, I just want to first of all thank you all and affirm you for what you all are doing. I'm sure that based on the final product, many people assume that it's easy, that you can just wake up, throw something together, edit it real quick, post it, and get a lot of feedback. So I know that there's a lot of behind the scenes work that comes with being dedicated to your cause. And I can genuinely say my wife and I, we've benefited from it. I've seen even, believe it or not, our circles intersect somewhat. And I've seen other people that I know who have reposted your stuff and like, yo, you know.
Wow.
That's crazy. That's awesome. We love to hear it.
Yeah.
So let me ask you all this. How did you all get into the health and fitness space? Not just from a business perspective, but personally.
I mean, taking it way back from even like growing up, I grew up in a really small town. So to get around, you rode your bike or you walked, like, you know, especially as you're, 10, 11, 12 years old, it was safe to just walk around town with your friends and, going to the movie theaters. It was like, you met up at the local parking lot and you walked to the movie theater, whatever, So it was always an active lifestyle. So then from there, like getting into sports and things, it was just what you did because there was nothing else to do in the small town. But then, going to college, it was also like scholarships or, you find a different incentive to keep it going. But it just for me became like part of my life. It was what made me happy. And then I started doing bodybuilding competitions, and from there is where I really got into the nutrition and understanding like how eating can physically and mentally and emotionally change your body. You can do whatever you want to shape your body. And it was interesting to me. Like it was like mind blowing that taking out, certain foods or putting certain foods in, like how it shaped my body. So
Yeah. And for me, it was just like my dad put me in sports at like as early as he could get a basketball in my hand as early as like 3 years old. So
Definitely.
I was pretty much born to play sports, be active, and that's what I did year round. I was always trying to find different sports to get into, where there was like camps that my dad would put me in the summers. Like
stay busy.
Stay busy like throughout the, I was one of those kids. I didn't really play a lot of video games growing up. I was always outside, like playing football, basketball, stuff like that. So that carried on to college. I mean, I played ball in college, and after that, that's when I started to notice like I get injured a lot.
Wow.
Especially playing football. It's like you don't realize how much playing a sport that demanding affects your body and how much it can really damage your body. But then you also see the upside of, wow, I can really heal myself. I can really recover. I can really find different ways to get myself back to a certain level. So I saw the ups and downs of like just the body and how it, kind of like what she said, how it kind of responds to things that you do. And that's what got me more interested in, like personal training and just learning more about the body and how it works. So that was a big influence, especially before I moved to, we both moved to LA. That was like, I knew I wanted to help people within health and fitness and change people for sure.
Toya, you mentioned that you begin to discover early on that what you eat or don't eat does have an impact on your body. As you grew in this space over the years, was there a point in your journey where you, and same for you, Juice, had to sacrifice eating, drinking, anything that was like, yo, I love this, but I got to let it go?
Oh yeah. I mean, for me personally, my mom had colon cancer 6 times. So seeing, you know, for her, when she had her colostomy bag, it was like a lot of food she couldn't eat anymore just because the digestion couldn't handle it. And so for me, that was interesting to see, like, oh, I thought our bodies just digest whatever we put in, it's got to come out, you know. And so then for me personally as well, I started to have the same digestive issues, you know, where certain things just didn't um, agree with my body in ways coming out, like breaking out, bloating, energy, fatigue. And so you start to see that pattern, you know, where you're like, for me, it's rice, like, right. Like you could eat rice and have this, like, it doesn't mean that you gain body fat with the rice. You know, for me, rice is not, I can't have it. So then my clients are like, oh, should I stop eating rice too? And I'm like, no, that's like for my body, you know? And so you start to see where I have a client who's intolerant to spinach, you know, where I could tell you to eat spinach and it's super healthy for you, but for some people it just doesn't agree with your body, you know? And so you start to find things that it's not just sugar and alcohol and the things that we look at as, you know, no matter who you are, they're not serving your body, you know, but there have been things along the way that we've found as well that could be considered healthy, but it may not be for me or for him.
Exactly.
You know? So
yeah, and for me, it was always the effect of how foods affect my performance.
Right.
So I was always, you know, every Saturday we had a game, whether it was, you know, at 11 a.m. or 7 p.m. But everything we ate leading up to that point affected our performance. So I'd be lying to you if I said I didn't have like a couple bowls of ice cream like the day before, just because, you know, I'm a college kid. I just want to eat what I want to eat and enjoy. But when I got on the field, I could really like feel the difference between the night before I ate some ice cream and the night before where I ate just like a balanced dinner. You know what I mean? So even up to this day, if I know I have a workout that I'm really looking forward to just killing, I need to really supplement my body and give my body the things that it needs to be successful with that workout, you know. So
I also did bodybuilding competition. So for that it's like 10, 12, 16 weeks of no alcohol,
strict.
no strawberries sometimes, you know, like it's super
It's a
strict,
mental battle.
but it really helped me. You know, we look at our bodies in a health wise as a whole, and it helped me mentally, you know, to see like, okay, can I go 16 weeks without a glass of wine? And then after that 16 weeks, then it's like, okay, do you need it? You know, where it's like you start to realize, like, was it just a habit, or was I doing it because it served my body in a way that will help me, you know? So it's very mentally challenging.
Listen, I'm so glad that you shared both of those perspectives, because I have made and I've heard others make wholesale statements. I can never, I will never, I just can't imagine living without consuming X, Y, or Z. And you're right. It shows us that for holistic health, it's more than just your body in terms of exercise, drinking, but also there's a mental component. And bodybuilding competition, shout out to my brother-in-law. I first had a chance to watch him, and he was talking about weighing the amount of yogurt you eat. You know what I mean?
Exactly. I
That's
mean,
no small thing.
Listen, I wouldn't say that it's how you want to live your life. We don't want to have to weigh the banana and throw part of it away because it weighed too much, you know, like that's realistically speaking, it's not healthy, and it's not, you know, because then it becomes obsessive and an eating disorder way, you know. So for that specific goal, that specific timeline, listen, that's what we have to do. But you know, overall, you want to understand to learn to live in a way that you can balance it out, you know, where now I understand that I can cut those things out and have them in modification, you know. So it's a tough thing. If you want to challenge yourself, do a bodybuilding competition.
But it teaches you more about food, like like how one of the biggest things I never understood is like a tablespoon of peanut butter is 100 calories.
One tablespoon, not a heaping tablespoon.
Like actual tablespoon
is 100 calories, and I used to eat peanut butter like crazy, and that was one of the biggest things. It helped me understand like a lot of foods are very nutrient dense, very calorie dense. You know what I mean? So it really affects how your body. You know, it may just be a tablespoon, but it's a lot of calories. in that, in that one little tablespoon. So it helps you kind of understand food
Portion size.
portions.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm feeling bad because I definitely had a big tablespoon of peanut butter with my apple this morning.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
that's
And
still
if you
normal.
eat it out of the jar, it doesn't count. If it's not on the bowl or on the plate, then it doesn't count
It
because
doesn't
it's an
count.
extra hit. Yeah. See, so it makes you the weighing of the food, like you said with your buddy,
It
like
really,
it makes you realize, once you weigh that and you're like, this is
oh,
what a tablespoon is.
yeah.
Oh,
This is
like
what a
it.
cup is. This is
Yeah.
what,
And
I
I'm
guess.
I'm thankful for that because now I can eat normally to understand what portion sizes I need. I can look at, chicken or peanut butter or whatever and be like, all right, this is all I really need,
Sure,
So
sure.
yeah, it teaches you a lot. So
So, Juice Man, you played football on the collegiate level.
Mhm.
Did you ever have league aspirations? And if you did, was there a moment where you had to come to terms with whether that was going to be fulfilled or not fulfilled?
Yeah, I actually got an opportunity to go to Buffalo Bills mini camp,
Okay.
um, just as an undrafted free agent, and that was like a big deal for me because that was my dream ever since I was 4 years old with the
Sure.
football in my hand. So it was a big deal. But of course, it came to a point where things didn't work out, and I had to figure out a really my agent at the time wasn't very helpful, and it came to a point where I had to really like figure out, all right, what's next? Like,
Yeah.
am I gonna still continue to try to play? Which was that was one of my motivations to moving that to LA. I was like, all right, I'm gonna go to LA. I'm going to join a gym just so I can stay in shape. I can stay ready. So if I get that call, I can take off. Never got the call, and here is when I realized, all right, I have to turn it around. I have to figure out how to channel, you know, 20 something years of playing sports into
Yeah.
something else. You know what I mean? That's all I knew. That's all I had more aspirations life after football that I wanted to do, but football was my number one.
Mm,
And once that was gone, I was like, man, I really have to figure out a purpose. Like, I'm really big on purpose, waking up every day with something to strive for.
sure.
And that's where we kind of leaned into personal training and just wanting to help people or just learn from the mistakes I made or the injuries I had. It felt good to like teach people like how to, come back from certain things, like how to come back stronger and use those elements of sports that I learned, from the age of 4 up, of how to apply that to training and how to help people. So that was where that purpose kind of transitioned. Because it was, of course, I had a little um, period of depression, of course.
Sure.
You reach
Sure.
that point and you realize like you were there and you didn't make it. It was kind of tough to
Yeah.
overcome. But once you channel that failure into something else, it was like it was nonstop from there. So
yeah.
yeah,
Listen, that's real. And football is my first love. I never had a chance to play formally. So I've always lived vicariously through pretty much anybody that I've met who've played football. I've
yeah,
never put on a helmet like that, never worn pads. I've seen my fair share of practices, been to games.
mhm,
So even as you talk about coming to this point where it's kind of like, is it about to happen? And there was a shift, even that I can feel. And I appreciate your transparency because I think whether or not a person wanted to become a professional athlete, there are persons who wanted to become a professional actor or actress or some other dream. And those pivot moments, man, when you're transitioning from literal years of blood, sweat, tears, waking up early, working out,
yeah,
sacrificing so many other opportunities, but
Yeah.
then to, like you said, channel and funnel. You said failure, and I think a lot of us can feel like that, but
mhm,
just a redirecting
yeah,
of my
exactly.
energy. So one of the things I appreciate about what you all pour into, and for me, it's felt and very tangible, in what you offer to, I'll say, those like myself who you coach from a distance. That's the
Yeah.
beautiful
Yeah,
thing. Like, you never know who's on the other side of the camera.
Yeah.
yeah,
It comes through. Like, never do I feel like you're saying, you bunch of wimps, get off the
Yeah.
couch.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
it's very accessible. You can augment, you do what you can do. Don't feel like just because you see how we look or see what we're
Yeah.
using. I'm not
mhm.
gonna
Yeah.
lie, I be seeing Juice with the big 25 plus boy. I'm like, I'm not there with you yet, my brother.
You get there.
But I never feel like, because I'm not there, that
Yeah.
there's something to be wrong about. So
Yeah.
I want to ask you all this question then. What inspired you all to take your personal interests, to galvanize your journeys, whether or not you are very overt about them on camera, to help others? Where did that come from?
That I mean, honestly, for us, that's just kind of the nature of who we were as
Yeah.
people. That's what kind of attracted us together, honestly, that we caring about the people we love, the people who we come in contact with. You know what I mean? We give people the benefit of the doubt when we first
Yeah.
meet them, no matter what they're going through. If somebody, we're on the road and somebody cuts us off, we never know what they're going through.
Listen,
You know what I mean?
sometimes,
So we try to,
sometimes we're in
we
LA.
both grown up with the mentality of putting other people above ourselves at times
Yeah.
when they need it, and that's what kind of led us both to like personal training in general. Like we've always, of course, we make a living from it, but we notice, when you put people first, when you put your clients first, when you really pour into them,
Yeah.
the funds, the finances will take care of themselves.
Well, I think with the videos, it was also a transition of, we started our company, we started training, and we ran into a lot of people that either couldn't afford personal training, or that we also have online training, but for them, they wanted to see our face, like to be motivated by us. And so I think the videos, it was also a good transition into like, for people that can't afford it or don't just want to have their workout written, watch the video. Like we're still here, we're still, we can coach you, like you said, that way. And we really were, I mean, I think both of us can say we were pretty shocked to see how many people were like, okay, more, like that really, it was like that was their training at that point, where they're like, okay, I've done all these, I'm good at them now, I need something harder. We had people comment like, make a harder barbell video, and I'm like, oh,
okay,
so
sorry.
it's they're using us as like personal trainers, where they are using that, it's their motivation. It's like, okay, every Tuesday they have a new video, what's the new workout for the week, where we're like, they are actually benefiting from it, and people saying that they're like seeing results from it, that tells us that they're doing it. They are, and it's helping them. So for us, that's motivation. Like, the clients we personally see, we love, and we love, helping them get results. But to see it from afar, people we don't even know, it's a whole different level of like feel good.
And all over the world too. It's not just in. We have
Serious.
people reached out from like
yes.
India, like
Belgium,
Indonesia.
like we get a lot of Belgium. I don't know why we get a lot, but we get a lot of like, they'll say like hello from Belgium,
like thank you for this workout. Like it's like wow.
They'll DM us on Instagram like, hey, I did your dumbbell workout today. I'm gonna do the medicine ball one tomorrow, and you see their little flags in their profile. I'm like, I don't even know where that is. Like it's so cool,
Yeah.
So yeah.
Now that has to be something to both go to sleep with and wake up to. That the reach of our influence, and again, we're talking about more than just social media influence. We're talking about lifestyle influence that people
Absolutely.
have found. I don't know if there was ever a apprehension about whether or not we should do this. When you're planning to do something, there's so much you don't know. But now here it is. You're like, yo, if we hadn't done this, that many people might have, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
I mean, we both are busy people, and it was definitely do we have time for this? And we thought about it probably a year before we started it, where it was like, my thing was, let's just do it. But he does a lot of the editing and a lot of the big work, where he was like, well, wait a minute. I'm gonna have to edit these videos and put them out consistently,
So I was always more about like just creating quality videos. Like even whether you're on your phone or watching it on your TV in the living room, I wanted people to I wanted it to be an experience and not just another workout video. That way people can learn. It's fun, because that's the thing, like workouts, there are days where you don't feel like moving, and we want people to just look at our workouts and be like, look, they're bite-sized. A lot of our workouts are 15, 20 minutes long, but they're so engaging that...
And you still feel accomplished.
You feel accomplished, on the day. That, like we always say, 20 minutes is better than 0 minutes. So it's like, if people can just stay moving and stay consistent, it'll build over time, So that's just kind of been our focus, especially, when coronavirus happened. We were like, that's the first thing we said. Like, we have to make sure people can still work out. Gyms are closed.
And we had more time to focus on it. It was a big blessing for us. I see a lot of people that it wasn't a blessing for them. So I really look at this as like, we took the opportunity and we were really blessed with it, because for us, we didn't have a lot of time because our schedules didn't really match up, and we were still going to the gym and traveling to our clients. So now our clients are virtual, to where it was like that travel time is taken out. We had a lot more time to produce quality content, you know, where we could shoot 2 to 3 videos a week instead of trying to figure out a Saturday or Sunday where both of our schedules matched,
for
you
sure,
know.
for
So
sure.
yeah, it was definitely for us, it was a good opportunity,
Yeah.
you know. So
So
yeah.
pre YouTube, you all were coaches at brick and mortar gyms.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Cool.
It's, you know, a lot of our clients, we either traveled to them or they came to us at a private gym location.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Yeah.
that's what it was. We were gone all day long.
Yeah, for sure.
So
Now, the
yeah.
journey to becoming certified coaches, was that difficult, or was it already a part of your athletic wheelhouse? Like, no, we're just kind of doing what we already know how to do and getting certified to now do it.
Yeah.
At least for me, it was more so of like, how do I jumble all my knowledge in an organized way to where I
Yeah.
can officially like help people, you know,
Sure.
see it. You know what I mean? So like when we do consultations with people, we try to lay out a plan or lay out a vision for where we expect them to be. You know what I
Okay.
mean? And at the time, prior to having a certification, you know, I knew how I could get people fit or lose body fat, but I didn't know how to structure it. So for me, that kind of helped me learn how to structure my style of training or my style of workouts into a way that fits me to where I can obviously sell myself as a trainer. You know?
Definitely.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, it was, I don't want to say being certified is an easy thing, because it definitely, I mean, there's to be a good trainer, there's a lot of knowledge that goes
Yeah.
into that.
Sure.
But I think the same, it was more the structure, you know, being an athlete, you understand how to move, but I'm sure he can tell you, we get a lot of athletes that they're like, I need help, you know, because
Yeah.
after that coach is gone, the coach is telling you what to do, and then
Yeah.
you're done.
Yeah.
Who's telling you what to do? You
Yeah.
know, you've just
Sure.
been doing what
Whatever coach
you've been
says.
told.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't really know how to
Structure it.
structure that into reaching your goals, you know. And for me, it was more, I was more into the nutrition, and getting the certification just kind of like put it all together,
Yeah.
basically,
For
you know,
sure.
because you'll see a lot of people who are athletes and they call themselves trainers,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
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 And it all
So
depends.
it's,
It depends where you come from. Like if you're someone who's trying to get into personal training, you've never, you know, never worked out a lot throughout your life. It's going to be maybe a little bit more difficult than
right.
someone who has a background, obviously, you know,
Yeah.
in fitness or in just
Sure.
movement in general. So,
Knowledge. Yeah.
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 So let's take a few steps back, and I want to ask you all, how did you meet? I want to ask you where you met, unless you want to share that. And was there, who saw who first? Was the fitness the link? Did
Whole
that
thing.
come afterwards? The whole thing.
The whole thing.
Uh-oh. Here we go.
Um, yeah, I mean, it's honestly, I will say we're both pretty spiritual people, and the best way for me to describe it is God said, you go here, and I'm just gonna make the rest happen. I mean, the way that we came together was like, we were never, it was always gonna
We were
happen.
always
God
going to
was gonna
cross
make it
paths at some
happen,
point.
At some
whether
point.
we liked it or
Yeah.
not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
I mean, we both moved to LA. I moved from Kansas City. He moved from Houston in the same week, and we didn't know each other.
Wow.
And I applied at a gym. Just, you know, moved to LA. I was like, I just need a job, you know, just to get going. And when I get to this gym, they tell me, you know, when can you start? We just had a guy quit. We need someone ASAP. He was that guy. And so I didn't know him still. And so I'm sure at some point we saw each other at
Yeah.
that gym.
Yeah.
And
Just
then
didn't. Yeah.
we both applied to a different gym. And I had gotten hired at one, and they're like, actually, this one in Westwood needs help. Can you go apply there? And in a nutshell.
And then in a nutshell, on the other side, I applied for a gym. They told me the wrong time for the interview, so I was technically late for the interview. But in the email, I was on time. So they literally shooed me away and say, maybe we can get you in for another interview. Never happened. Never called me. So I got a call from the other gym where to come in, and sure enough, this is where I met her, and we were both in the same interview group of about like 20 trainers, I believe. And then from there, you know, it narrowed it down. I think the second interview was 8 trainers. And then sure enough, we're the last,
Last two standing.
the last of 4. And then
Serious.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we both
Yeah.
got picked out of like the last four.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
when we met each other and we like
Okay.
became friends and
Yeah, and that's when we, I was like, oh, I just left this other gym. He's like, oh, we're at, and I was like, oh, this one in Sherman Oaks. He's like, oh, I quit there. And then when I found out he was the one that had
Sure.
quit, and then we found out our birthdays were 2 days apart, and so we're both new to LA, and so we were like, let's, at that point we had all the same friends because at the gym
yeah.
when you start, like, your whole life is there, you're doing like classes and ramping up, so we had a group of like 5 friends that you become family because you're spending all day together. So we were like, let's celebrate our birthdays together, and so we had it at my place. Found out he lived 2 minutes down the street from me.
I could literally walk there.
Like, literally, he was like,
never knew.
okay, what's your address? Put it in. And he's like, okay, I'll be there in 2 minutes, like, literally. So, and the gym we worked at was like, it was 8 miles away, but with LA traffic, it could take you an hour and a half,
Easy.
So there were times that we would carpool together or ride home together just to make it, easier.
Yeah.
And we just became really good friends. And when I could cry thinking about it, my mom got really sick. He was always the only person in the break room. I'm not kidding. It was like I'd get a call like, she's not doing
I would
well.
literally be listening to music,
Yeah,
like
and he
minding
would
my
be
own
the
business, and then
only
she-
person in there every time. And so, he got to know a lot about that. And when my mom finally passed away, it was like he was the only person that was always there, just even by accident, like it was like I would get like a call and I would look over like, who can I talk to? And he was sitting there, or I'd be walking outside and just happened to run into him. It was just like all these coincidences at the time. But, looking back at it now, I really feel like it was like God preparing me for it, knowing, you're going to need somebody there for you. You're going to need someone without me having to explain like, hey, I need someone, because he knew everything because he was already there, So when we finally started dating, it was like I didn't have to explain that, I'm struggling, or that I need a friend, or that I need, whatever. When your mom passes away, you don't know what you need, So,
That's that in a nutshell, pretty much.
So it was just like it was going to happen whether we liked it or not, there are too many coincidences that looking back now, they're not,
Yeah. What's powerful about it is in the actual workout space, if you're doing bench or something like that, we often need spotting. But I find that even more than just for physical strengthening in an emotional and a relational sense, it's always great when you have friends and when friendships can develop and blossom, and there's that dependence on one another that doesn't rob you of your individuality, but life does put us in situations where if we try to go it alone, bear it by ourselves, in the same way we would try to bench press something that's too heavy for us without anybody else saying, hey, I got you. You need that person to say, I got you.
Yeah.
And like you said, that the same week you get to this place, you don't know each other from Adam or Eve, but you all are going to be able to be with each other throughout some pretty critical times, highs and lows. So I want to ask you this, Juice, man, in your estimation, what does Toya bring to both your relationship and to the partnership as business owners, as persons who have created platforms for other people? What unique contributions does she bring to the table?
I think all of her contributions, for me personally, what I think it's the strength and the resilience. Because if you knew everything that she went through, you wouldn't understand why she could sit here and be on a podcast and smile and laugh. Like, she's been through a lot. So I've seen like her struggle. I've seen her, push through certain situations where I put myself in her shoes, and I'm like, I don't know if I would be able to do that. Like, it's almost inspiring. It is inspiring to me to see how she can continue to move forward. Having lost, the most important person in your life, I always think like, if I lost my mom, like, I would be a wreck, you know what I mean? So it's like, I see the day in and day out of her really, pushing past certain things and being able to train clients. She puts so much energy into her clients. She puts so much energy into making sure that she has content. She wants to put out certain stuff for her followers and the people who follow her journey. So I think the biggest thing she brings is strength. And to me, it's like, when I look at her, I don't complain. Because I was like, I could be going through things that she goes through on a daily basis, but I'm not. So I should push past whatever little problem I may have. You know, it helps me stay on my toes. It helps me keep pushing further. And I think a lot of her clients also see that as well. You know, they see how much she puts into them knowing what she's gone through. You know,
Sure.
yeah.
Toya, what about you? What does juice bring to the relationship, to the partnership?
Yeah. I mean, I think with all that being said, I think it takes a very patient person. And he has not just, with me, but his patience in general, like he is so patient that it's like, to me, I'm like, how do you not, get so flustered? How do you not get so frustrated? The amount of times I've seen him spend hours editing a video and the software crashes.
Oh,
And for him to not throw the computer, like, I mean, it just is like, there's times where it's 1, 2 in the morning and I'm like, I thought you were done. He's like, oh, the computer crashed. I just had to start over, and it's just like, he says it in such a calm, like he's very calm, he's very patient. And with that, also very strong as well, like it takes a lot of strength to be able to help me with everything I'm going through and still be able to handle his load, like I do have a lot that I'm going through, but he does as well, and I think the strength in being able to balance his struggles as well as help me with mine and vice versa. I think that's why we do so well in our relationship. I think it's because we want to put each other first, no matter like what we have going on with each other, and he's a lot more patient than I am. I just keep saying that. I mean, it's just the biggest thing I think for him, because he does have a lot of the hard work when it comes to what we do with our content, and even with his clients. He has clients that they are very thankful for his patience, because he just is very kind with them, like very calm, and it's just, I mean, it shows just in his energy and demeanor, so yeah, I think that's us together. It blends very well, just with our personal lives, but then also we have very different clients, and very, very different clients. And it's, I think, just, I don't know, the energy that we both bring to it just kind of blends very well
And to her
together.
point, like a lot of my, I guess, patience or like being able to help, even in times where I'm like struggling, is like having composure. And that's where sports comes in.
Yeah.
Because I played in front of 50,000, 70,000, 100,000 people, to where you have to kind of maintain some sort of composure when life gets like super crazy. So I think that kind of helps me navigate through hard times when things are like all over the place or so many like negative things are happening. You know what I mean? I've seen the resilience of playing a sport where you could be down 30 and come back and win the game. You know what I mean? So
Like
wow.
yeah, yeah, like her Kansas City
like
Chiefs.
the Chiefs.
So a
Pat
lot of
Mahomes
that,
in the house. All right.
yeah,
Yeah.
So a lot of that is just composure I've built, over time, just being in crazy situations, in sports
Sure.
that kind of taught me a lot. So
For a lot of people, the past several months have been characterized as things falling apart, just life going awry. And when you think of health, wellness, lifestyle,
Yeah.
fitness, people can easily box it into just physical fitness and look at the two of you, and say, oh, and surely they have the look, they have it all together. But we know that holistic health is only physical in part. So what do you all do? What are you all finding beneficial for you to maintain mental wellness and emotional wellness and even spiritual wellness?
Yeah. I will say from jump that firsthand, stress, it can be worse than eating a cheeseburger and french fries at times, And so to your point, the physical is just a portion of it. We can work out 10 hours a day if we want to, but if your mental and emotional isn't there, you're not going to see the results of that physical. Your nervous system, your body, all of that has to be intact to properly run your metabolism. So if your metabolism isn't running correctly, you're not burning fat like you want to. You're not putting on muscle like you want to, So one thing that we preach to our clients often is, just as hard as you're going in this hour session, go that hard in your sleep and recovery, go that hard in your mental, because that will be the game changer,
Yeah.
you know? And so for me, like he said, I had have a ton of stress in my life, and I feel when I don't take care of my mental and I'm just like, I'm just going to work out, I'm just going to work out, and I'm constantly on 10, I'm bloated, I'm puffy, I'm not lean, I don't look good, I don't feel good, you know? And that's when I take a step back from my workouts and they go on pause, and I'm like, I need to meditate, I need to pray, I need
Take a
to,
vacation.
yeah, take a
Get
vacation.
away.
It's just as important. And so we took a week off, and our workouts were us hanging out together, coming up with like, oh, look at this kettlebell thing I tried. Like, we just moved our body, you know, we didn't focus on how heavy our squat was, you know, and there's a time and a place for that. But I can't stress enough that if you're not putting just as much into your mental and emotional, the physical, it won't be there,
Yeah.
you know?
And we really strive to push to motivate people too, because it's much more to we can I can tell you, I can give you a whole workout program. I can tell you what to do, when to do it, how to do it. But if you're not mentally ready to go into that workout, if you're not driven, if you don't have the motivation to do it, then that whole plan doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we always push in our content to do like motivational videos too.
Yeah.
Like, we're not just going to tell you what to do, we're going to tell you how you can navigate your brain in order to really stay motivated and stay inspired. You know what I mean? Because all it takes is we always tell people, give yourself a chance, you know, give yourself a chance to see change. Right.
Yeah.
A lot of us, we do a great week of working out and eating, and then we're like, we pat ourselves on the back, and we go right back to square one. You know what I mean? But if you give yourself a chance to see that belt loosen a little bit, you know what I mean? Then once you see that first bit of change, you know, everybody gets super excited, and you stay motivated. You keep pushing, you keep driving. So a big factor along with that is to just stay motivated to all the things outside of the physical. You know, we try to focus on, whether that's with our YouTube channel, our Instagram content, you know, we really try to push other things holistically, you know, and not just like do this squat, do this push up, you know.
And our clients will tell you there are days where, I mean, we've been training with them long enough, we can feel the energy, you know, and if we sense that they're not in that workout that day, we'll stop. We'll do something else. We'll just stretch. We will just talk
Sometimes
to
they need
you.
someone to talk to.
And then in the moment, they're like, no, I can push through. And then when we finish the session and we just have talked or stretched or whatever, we always get the text, thank you, that's what I needed. I didn't realize, you know, like they don't realize that's just as important as going hard in the gym or in your workout. And I think to your question with it being hard right now with everything going on, it's hard to sit down and just meditate. It's hard to take a vacation. It's hard to do some of those self-care things, but I think that can also be just listening to music. It can be just sitting. It can be calling a friend, you know, it doesn't have to be like what we think typically being self-care, you know, is like meditating, praying, or just being still. It can be literally just getting out and going on a walk. You know,
anything
like
you find joy in, you know.
Yeah, because we're not motivated every day to work out and go hard, you know, because there's days that we wake up and, you know, we could be tired, we could be sad, we could be, you know, and so getting up and getting past that doesn't mean get up and go do the workout. Sometimes it just means get up, you know, and then you figure it out from there. It's not always pushing past and doing the workout, because if you aren't in it, what's that workout doing for your body? You know, it's not doing anything but maybe stressing you out more, or you know, if you're trying to go hard and build strength, if you're not in it, you can't go heavy, you know. So it's a time and a place. But I will say there are days where the workout is the de-stressor. You know, there are days where you're like, I just need to go hard, and you get it all out in a workout. So, and then in that case, that becomes your self-care, you know. It's whatever it helps you that day, that time.
So I sense that as much as you have shared on the holistic approach to wellness, not just physical training, but your emotional well-being, your mental well-being, that at least in part is a part of this emphasis from One Body LA.
Absolutely.
How did you all come to the point of not just choosing the name, but the mission and establishing it formally? And what has that entrepreneurial venture been like for you all so far?
We've just always looked at ourselves as just we only get one body. I mean, it sounds cliche, but it's like
That's what it
when you
was.
really when you really look at it for what it is, it's like you can't. It's not like when you have a flat tire, you can't just go fix the tire like you can with the car. Like if you have something going on internally, it's not that easy. You know, it's a lot of things that you can't just replace within your body. So we try to give people the preventative things, you know,
Yeah.
that they can do in order to protect that one body that they have.
Yeah.
To where we're all about longevity. Whether it's you want to be 80 years old and still be able to run a marathon, or
Yes, sir.
you know, or you want to live to 80.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're all about taking care of this one engine, or mentally this one computer that we have to, you know, so later down the road you're not going through a lot of these health issues. You know, you've invested so much in your body at a certain point in your life that you've avoided a whole bunch of diseases, illnesses, you know, whether it's mental, physical. You know, we try to stress that what you have right now is what you're going to have 60, 50 years.
Whoa.
Yeah. I mean, even with like, you can do plastic surgery and things like that, but that's not your body. That's not, like there are things that you can do to change your body, but that's not. So it's literally the name is. It made you think a little bit.
Y'all are preaching right now.
I mean, it's completely, like he said, he went through a lot of injuries and realized, like, I'm not going to get these kneecaps back. Like,
I have a scar on my knee that reminds me every day. Like, they couldn't just give me a brand new knee and just pop it on there. Like, it's damaged. You know what I mean? It's certain things I can't do because of the surgery.
You don't get another knee.
Right.
It's like,
so we look at that in every aspect of our life, whether it's our internal organs, our brain, our heart, our eyesight. With so many things we take for granted. You know what I mean? Like, that's why we wake up. We meditate. We thank we thank God for having, like, being able to touch, being able to see, being able to taste. These are certain things that, I mean, I've dislocated my pinky before. And you will never realize how much you need your pinky until something goes wrong with it. Something as small as your pinky could really affect your everyday life. So that's why we kind of preach.
And I think, in my example, I have a lot of health issues that I'm healthy. I do everything right. And there's still things that happen that are out of my control, but I always think about, what if I wasn't healthy? What if I, didn't work out and take care of my body? How much worse would it be? And that's what I think about often, is like, there are going to be things you can't control. There are going to be things that come up that, but how much worse would that have been, or even something as simple as, one of my clients, fell and was in her 70s, but because she strength trains 3 times a week, she swears that's what it was. Nothing broke, and she's looking at her elderly friends who have had hip replacements from tripping, who, and so little things like that, where it really is preventative, where, let's say, God forbid something happens and you have a surgery, your recovery, depends on how well you're taking care of your body now. You've got great cells that are ready to repair versus you don't, and that's all. That is what you can control. You control, what you're putting in your body that's going to help you long term or short term, so.
You're right. A lot of people can tend to be reactive in their approach to fitness. It's the classic meme, right? I'm about to get my summer body overnight.
Yeah. For sure.
All winter, we've been, hibernating and munching late night, right? We're all guilty of that at some point or another, but I love the proactive perspective. And I'm literally still, we've gone on in the interview, but my mind is still when you said you are making investments now.
Yes.
For who you will be then. You said the same thing, Toya, like, hey, the strength training, whatever you talk about, all the different types of investments that we're making, it's that, an investment. The dividends of which will be yielded for years to come.
Absolutely.
I mean, I know from my family, and I'm sure listeners, their families can relate too. There are persons, I've got aunts, uncles, I love them, no shade, that wish we could turn back the hands of time and make some different health choices in various areas of our lives. And it's easy as young people to really feel like, I'm gonna be able to fly up and down this field, jump out of the gym forever. I'm in my early 30s. I'm not old. I'm not as young as I used to be, but I've been out there on the court with 15 and 16-year-olds, and they let me know.
It is not the same. You
can't do it like you used to do it.
So
I appreciate that perspective of proactive approaches, investing not just in your present, because that often is what is glamorized, right? The look and right now. But the reality is, as we age and as we change, I think I still want to be 80 years old and be able to run in a marathon. I might not be able to run them as I did when I first started in
But you're
2016.
moving. You're moving without a assistance, like, and that's what I feel, especially a lot right now in our clients. It's easy to say like, oh, I want rounder glutes or stronger arms, and it's easy to look at the physical, but then when they say, oh, I lifted my suitcase up onto the overhead by myself for the first time, like, like little things like that, where they realize like I'm getting stronger. It's not just the physical aspect, like it's not just we're trying to work on the tricep, you're also building upper body strength, so little things like that that you don't physically see, but they make a world of difference. So
Sure. So we're living in an age where we get a chance to build legacies differently. And at times, I'd say even quicker than, say, our parents' generations or generations before that. So what kinds of imprints are you all hoping to, what are you creating now to leave behind or to set up for your posterity?
I, for me personally, just like remember when my mom passed away, they had a school bus picking up children to bring her to the funeral from her kindness, and I'll never forget the amount of people that reached out, and every single message had something to do with her kindness, or how many people were like, I only met her once, but she inspired me to be strong. I only met her once, but she inspired me to keep pushing. I only met her once, but this, and from that moment, I was like, I want to continue that for her, and so for me, I would love to just for people to look at me and say that I inspired them, whether that was fitness, whether that was just being strong, whether that was, changing their mindset towards something, it not just getting a six pack and growing glutes, like it's, I want people to be like, wow, like she inspired me in some way, because that's what I strive to do with the videos that we do, with the clients that I train with, the content that I put on my personal page. You only have one body, you only have one life. And I just like, it really woke me up to realize like, wow, like you really do just get to do this once, and after that, that's it. And so it just was so, my mom inspired me to not complain and just keep pushing, like it's the amount of things my mom went through. I look at, the way he looks at me, I look at that, and the older I get, the more I realize like how, and so that inspires me to carry that on to other people, just to be like, people will look at me and not understand or know some of the things I went through, but to keep pushing. And it's and then you just live, honestly, like it just is like, I don't know. I just want everyone to be happy.
Like, she's, if you can't tell, she loves people. Like she wants the best for everybody. She living in LA, you see like a lot of homeless people, and it's like, it's hard to like look at that, and we get inspired by that. Because like we want to be able to build a platform where we can help people. Like people shouldn't have to like be living outdoors. Like people deserve, everybody has the right to live a better life.
We both cry. I have seen him cry just because it's we want to just help them. Like we look at that and we're like, how can I help? What can I do?
And as far as, I mean, me personally, as far as building a legacy, like 3 years ago, I got into like photography and videography just out of the habit of wanting to do content, wanting to promote our business without having to pay an arm and a leg to someone to help us. So a lot of that was, I've always looked back on my past success and saw like, wow, like I get inspired by like stuff that I did in the past that I take for granted. Like, back then it wasn't a big accomplishment because I was always striving for more. And I catch myself doing that now, where I strive for more and more and more, so much that I don't look at the victories within it. You know what I mean? So part of that is we can go back, we have hard drives of like 8 terabytes of content.
Wow.
We can literally go back. We have thousands of pictures, like videos we didn't even put out, and we could go back and look at, like, look where we came from. Look at the things that we did. Look at the people who commented on this and how it helps them. You know what I mean? So as far as us starting our YouTube channel, YouTube's probably going to be here forever, so we'll forever have a library of things that's going to help people. You know, you can go back, you know, from when we just first started, and there's a video that people are still watching to this day. You know, so it's like, as far as the legacy, we don't necessarily know where it'll take us long term, but we know as long as we're putting the energy out to help people, putting content out that's for people, you know, we don't do things for like monetary gain. You know, like I said before, we focus on the people, we focus on giving people the best they can have, you know, quality. Then that'll take care of itself.
Exactly.
You know, it's not something to worry about. You know, so that's our one body mentality. You know,
Sure. This might sound strange, but, and I think as a videographer, as a photographer, as those who spend time in front of the camera, you'll know this, that it, you know, how you're feeling, it can kind of come through. And I can say this honestly, because I'm not just talking to people that I haven't, whose product I haven't experienced. A lot of what you all have shared, not just in terms of the business aspect, but your relationship, it comes through. There have been times, no lie, where I'm like, so they're doing this for like us, right? The viewing community. And I'm sure that they've worked out. I mean, they work out with each other. But once record has been pressed, it never seems like, okay, you stay on your mat, I stay on my mat. There are times, Toya, where I kind of see Juice kind of like checking you out to make sure like you good, like you got it, you know. He might not say that, but it just comes through. Like, you know, he's checking her like, okay, you're good.
Yes.
There's that kind of encouragement, you know, maybe a smile, like I almost fell there, but you
you saw that.
So it comes through, and I think that resonates at least with my home, because I feel like, you know, if you just see somebody's picture on Instagram, if you just see a wonderfully curated and edited video, by the way, you guys do not put out poor quality stuff. Like it's the truth, right? But when you see that, like we've already established, people can read into that so much and begin the comparison game. Like, well, man, like I don't look like that, or man, like my form isn't like that, or man, my lighting, I mean, all kinds of things. But I love that what you all have been candid enough to share with us is like, sure, we do put our best foot forward for our clients, those that we know personally on a first name basis, and those that only message us, and even those that don't message us. You know, every view on YouTube represents somebody that we may never meet, but that we present enough of ourselves in a way that's accessible, that says, you know what, I mean, this is for the rest of the year. I'm loving this. Give yourself a chance to see change. Woo-hoo-hoo. Yes, sir.
Name of the game.
So
it is easy to see, you know, you want that immediate reward, you know, and then as soon as you give up, that it's like that meme I'm sure you've seen where the guy's digging and the gold mine is right there, and if he would have kept digging another inch, he would have had it, but he turned around and went home, you know, and that's how fitness can be. It, you know, you're right there to breaking that plateau, and then you give up, you know. So that's why we just love doing these videos, to keep inspiring and pushing, because it might be the one where people they've given up, but then they see the video and they're like, all right, let me try this one more video, and they might be able to keep up with me, and then it inspires them to keep doing it until they can keep up with Juice, you know.
But and it's all, like, to your point, is I think we want to focus our YouTube on being transparent. Because that was why we waited a while to start the channel. Like, we wanted to start it like a year before that we did, but we did a lot of research in other channels. Like, what do people like about this? What do people like about that? And the common thing that I found, that people are more into like the personalities, like being yourself, you know. And you can tell the people who I always watch certain YouTubers from when they start from the beginning. I like, go look, how were you, you know, 5 years ago when you started your channel?
And now ourselves, like looking back at our first videos.
Exactly. And we try to look at it as like, look, let's just be transparent. Let's be who we are. And that way, 5 years from now, people are not going to say, oh, they changed when they, you know, gained a certain amount of subscribers, a certain status. Like, we want to be very transparent with our followers, or people who follow our journey. That way they can see, like, you know, when we do workouts, we don't, you know, show you all the highlights. Like, we're struggling, like we come up with these workouts and we push ourselves, you know. We're not gonna not show you the times where we're struggling and going through certain things. So I think people will resonate with that more. They can see themselves, they can strive to be better, and it shows you that everybody's human, you know what I mean? And that way it's not, 5 years from now, if something happens, people are like, "Oh, y'all are frauds." You're like,
Yeah.
you didn't show us how you struggle back." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Right.
transparency is very key to us,
Yeah.
and that's with our relationship too, and everything else. Like the more transparent you are with people around you or within your relationships, the better the total outcome will be. So
Yeah.
Definitely. I just got
Yeah.
a few more questions for you all.
sure.
I definitely appreciate just the hang. I want
Yeah.
to ask this, and I tend to ask this, Toya, because for someone as larger than life, for you as your mom was, even as you are presenting her to us, um, there's no way we could even begin to go halfway into how much she means to you. But I always like to do this. What was your mother's name?
Birgit.
Birgit.
Birgit Apollonia Kockelman. We are
Yeah.
from Germany.
Yeah.
Yeah, Birgit Apollonia Kockelman.
Yeah, the reason I value that and I appreciate you sharing that is again, um, I think at times more people's names need to be heard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can
Yeah.
often look over the names you all have already mentioned, just persons in the homeless population. That's just, it's the homeless guy, the homeless girl.
Yeah.
Like this person has a name.
Yeah.
And even more so, yes, she is your mother, and we have all had loved ones, but they have a name, and that name rings in my head all day and all night. So I appreciate you sharing
Of
her name.
course.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, Final question. Actually, I take that back. I have a final question. Then I just want to plug this real quick. What you all
Okay.
have posted at the time of this recording, that is, you all are about to start a 40-day fitness challenge.
For a week.
4 week.
Yeah.
4 weeks, 4 week
4 weeks.
fitness challenge.
Yep.
4 weeks.
Yep.
All
Yes.
right. So when people hear this, that will be in progress, but you can still let us know what does the 4 week fitness challenge include, so that when you do future challenges, listeners will be able to look out for that.
So actually, depending on when they are listening to it, they may still be able to join. But all it is we have put together with our YouTube videos a workout program essentially. And like I said earlier, we found how many people did our workouts as if we were training them, and so we were like, why not put it into a
Organized.
structured,
Yeah.
organized way that will benefit them, where like if you did this to stay, put in the proper recovery, you will really see results. And so we are doing a 4 week challenge curated within our videos, to lose some body fat, to get your body
Yeah,
moving.
and of course we have a few incentives. We
Yes.
wanted to obviously make it an end goal, something to try to strive for. So we have like 5 prizes that people will be able to win based on certain categories, like who was the most consistent, who saw the best results. So that's going to help people, stay motivated from week to week. Because we found it, and we're trying to learn from the challenges that we do, try to make them better, try to make them more achievable, but still help people see results. So
Yes.
this is just a byproduct of all those kind of trial and error. So we think this one will be a lot more successful than a lot.
Yeah, and I say they would still be able to join because it's free, so
Yeah.
anyone can join. But also, again, it's curated within our YouTube videos. So worst case, they would just be a week or so, whatever,
Yeah.
behind, but the videos are still there. They're
For
all,
sure.
we can still give you the schedule, and you'll still be able to, it may not be the same 4 weeks that we're doing, but
Right.
like you said, the holidays are coming up and we
Yeah.
need something to
Yeah.
keep us moving and
For sure.
accountable. And I think people really, we've had a ton of people sign up so far, but I think the biggest reason is no videos longer than 25 minutes. And the biggest complaint I would say right now we've heard is we don't have time to work out. What's something I can do quickly?
Yeah.
Whether that's kids are home now from school and you're trying to juggle, schooling your kids, going to work, et cetera, et cetera. If you can knock out a 20-minute workout and you feel accomplished
Hey,
from that,
that's
that's
a
a
win.
win. So
Major way.
yeah,
Yeah,
so
very
we're
much.
excited about it. I think
Yeah.
it's, like I said, we've seen so much success from the videos, but now we'll be able to see really how it can help
For
people.
sure. And then
So,
I guess to plug too, at the end of this on November 22nd, we're
24th. Yes,
Yes,
22nd.
22nd. We're gonna host like a final. It's the last day of the challenge, so we're gonna host a live workout that people can come,
Sure.
who are obviously signed up. But if there are some people who obviously want to join, we'll have them in, and then that's when we'll announce all of our prize winners.
And you get to work out with
yeah,
us.
and get a good workout. Yeah, we just like to have fun, and workouts we've done on Zoom in the past have been really great.
Really
And people
fun.
enjoy them, so we wanted to keep this. We're definitely gonna do this often. We might do
Yeah.
this every couple months or so, just to keep people
Sure.
motivated. So.
Yes.
You
Yes.
guys heard it here first, the 4-week challenge, the first of many to come.
Absolutely.
We've got to get on board. I'm inspired. I'm
Yeah.
encouraged, really and truly. Where is Juice and Toya a year from now? And where would Juice and Toya be 10 years from now? One Body LA, what's coming?
I would say a year from now, I'm really excited. I think we just have a lot of opportunities happening right now that will take, I think, our YouTube and our the way we present content. I think a year from now will be um, better than it is now, more structured than it is now, and more available than it is now.
For sure. I think we'll find ways to reach more of a mass
Yes.
audience.
Yeah.
That's just been our big, like we plan on starting a podcast. We might look at you to get some tips, but we're looking to start a podcast early next year, just to find different ways. Because we also learn that people learn differently. You know, people learn with one-on-one session. People are better with seeing it on paper in an online session. And then some people want to hear information, you know, especially in LA when you're driving in traffic. You have long commutes, you know, why not pop on a
Yes.
podcast where you can learn something, get informed, you know, and just find different ways to meet people. So I think that's
10 years from now, I see us helping people all over the world. I want to have people representing One Body LA. And like I said earlier, we have people on our YouTube that are from literally other countries, places I've never heard of. So I see One Body LA being a brand, not just even in America, but all over, to where people think of One Body LA and they are reminded that they have just one body. And then hopefully in thinking of One Body LA, it inspires them to get moving, to get healthy, to take care of their body.
For sure. Our biggest value in our training, you know, when people factor in the cost, like we said, it's an investment. The biggest thing we can offer is offering you education, like what you're going to learn out of the training, not actually doing the workout.
Or even the results. You know, the results are great, and losing body fat, building muscle, all of that is great. But the knowledge that you learn on how to properly take care of your body, I think, is the biggest thing that you can gain. So,
Listen, everybody, I know that I told you I was excited and I couldn't hide it. And now you see why. We have been able to have good hang in the living room with Juice and Toya. Where can we follow you on Instagram, on YouTube? How can people follow you so that they too can get in shape?
So
you can follow us at a lot of places. So my personal Instagram is at Toya Sherelle, ToyaCherelle.
There we go. And then my page is Houston, Texas. Juice, TONTX.
And then our business page is just at One Body LA on Instagram. And our YouTube is Juice and Toya.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Phenomenal. I follow all of them, you know, so I can vouch for you all. Listen, here's what I want everyone to do, our viewing and listening audience. I want you to commit to give yourself a chance to see change. And I would highly encourage you to connect with Juice and Toya, partner with them, allow them to come alongside you in a way that is meaningful for you. You don't have to go from couch to running a triathlon. You don't have to go from couch to being in a bodybuilding competition unless you don't like bananas, so you don't mind eating a portion anyway. But we want you to give yourself a chance to see change. My life has been impacted and bettered tremendously by our special guest. And I hope that sooner than a year from now, definitely a year from now and 10 years from now and thereafter, that what you all are doing, the legacy that you are creating, the platform you're building, will continue to inspire and transform and change lives, not just in LA, not just in the States, but even beyond.
Absolutely.
Any final words? Anybody you guys want to shout out? Anything before we close up?
Well, I just want to say that people can reach out and DM us and comment. We truly actually read every single YouTube comment and we reply to everyone.
Yeah.
So if people have questions, I know it can be very intimidating to reach out, especially in the health and fitness world. So if you don't feel comfortable commenting in a public space on YouTube, send us a DM. We truly love hearing feedback and we love answering questions for you guys. Like it's never annoying. We truly do enjoy it and love it and value it.
For sure. That's it.
Yeah. We love talking to you guys.
Definitely. Well, folk, listen, I hope that you are inspired. I'm confident that you will take what we have listened to and learned and apply it to your life. That's all we have for this episode of The Living Room. I'm your host, Richard Martin. Our special guests have been Juice and Toya, One Body LA. We'll see you all next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.